All right. It's good to see you, Jan and Jan.
Same to you, Alan.
All right.
Yeah.
And hello, everyone. This is This Week in MeteorJS. And this week, what we're covering is some feedback that we've gotten from the submission box. This is a small forum that Storyteller put together and people are starting to use. So we're really happy that we're getting some feedback there. Followed up by discussion on the need or the perceived need for new forums categories, followed by some talk about bug bounties coming to Meteor. And finally, after that, the last two items we have is talking about the last alpha version of Meteor 3. So that's the next in the major number series of Meteor that's on the table right now. And then we'll end with a discussion on CSS modules in MeteorJS. So without further ado, let's go straight into it. Well, we just did today on MeteorJS. From the submissions box, we got a couple of bits of feedback. One of them is a suggestion on something that we could do to the program that we're starting. This is only our second week with This Week in MeteorJS. And this podcast, or this specific segment of what might be a series of podcasts, is focused on the news and on the things that are happening now and today in MeteorJS. And those are community activities, those are core code changes, those are featured rollouts, there might be product launches and so on. So we really want to stay focused on that to deliver that as the value of this product and maintain consistency. One of the suggestions we had was discussing or having guests come on and highlighting some of the major community members that participate in building the software building platform, building packages, and so on. And I think those are really important points. Those people are very important. The community wouldn't be what it is without them, but we don't think that this is the forum for it. We think that that is someplace where you need to have a different discussion, a more intimate back and forth, and I don't think that this is going to be the right place for it. We may consider doing an offshoot of this, and it wouldn't be MeteorJS this week in MeteorJS, it would be something else. But we don't think that it's suited for this. And do you, Jan and Jan, do you have any additions that you want to put to that, or do you think that captures our sentiment on this right now as we're trying to work out this product? Do you feel that captures that accurately?
Yes, I think that accurately. I kind of would like add to it, because with inviting somebody else to come on in, this show is focused on news, so wouldn't be about them. It would be about the news. And with a lot of the suggestions that we've got, who, for example, should be invited and everything, we want to have, as you said, more sit down and in-depth discussion with them that's about them and about what they are doing, and maybe to talk more at length about issues within Meteor or some of the other cool stuff that they are doing. So having a dedicated show where we can spend the entire time, maybe even a couple of hours just talking about that, then here in this quick format will definitely be, I think, much more valuable to everybody involved.
Yeah. Okay. So Jan being very, very concise with his feedback there also. All right. So, and this isn't just the only thing that we've heard about. I mean, there was some feedback I had gotten from, Felipe, who's a former CEO and developer advocate for Meteor, who's working on the core product right now through Coave, his firm, who mentioned that one of the things we might want to do is get deeper into the code here. And in that discussion, I also mentioned that because this is something that we expect people are going to watch to find out what's going on in Meteor, to stay on top of things, I don't think that's the proper format. We might do a a follow-on to that called Hot Topics or Deep Dives that would allow us to, really focus on those kinds of things. But for now, we're going to try to give as very good a product we can within a 30 to 40 minute time frame to give you information that is useful about what changes are happening within the Meteor environment and community and platform each week. All right.
I would only add to that if these deep dives into code are related to a hot topic, then we may definitely link it here, so that you, if you're interested in that, and if you have the time and the patience to do the deep dive, then we will definitely link it, and you can do it on your own, definitely.
Yeah, I think that that's a reasonable thing. I don't think if we were to do sort of these featured, topics, the hot topic, the deep dive, or the personalities, that when you come to the news, we would mention that we have that and that we did that. So, because that would be newsworthy too. So it wouldn't be done in isolation and that you wouldn't hear about it. And if somebody else, by the way, decides that they want to do a separate podcast that includes these things, we'd be happy to share that too. The more the merrier. We want more content and more news and more information about what's going on with Meteor. Okay? All right. Storyteller, you're going to pick up on the next item?
Yes. So one of the technical stuff that we had in our submission box, and I'll probably butcher the name from a long-term, user of Meteor, at least according to the forum history, Gunse Bektas, that's his username. He mentioned about Meteor and MongoDB version update issues that we know about. And Alan, if you can share my screen in there.
Sure.
Go over it.
Let's get the share screen going.
Yeah, so
right.
this kind of goes any time where there is a big update in Meteor or MongoDB anywhere. So it's you have to check what are the breaking issues and kind of be in touch with what's going on with especially the major changes. And one of the things, of course, with MongoDB, they are moving very fast and they are making a lot of improvements and changes, but also means some breaking changes here and there. Normally, if you are not using say raw collections or very specific parts of MongoDB, you are not going to encounter these issues. But if you do, and if you are using API that might encounter some issues, then definitely check out the release notes with both Meteor and MongoDB. And one of the cool things on this is that MongoDB has an option to allow kind of backward compatibility through commands, say, for example, back to version 4.4. So you don't have to immediately, say, change your code. So this allows you kind of bit of a breathing room. And these guides, which we'll link in the description after this, kind of cover how to do that. And if you look also on GitHub issues with Meteor, you will find discussion about these as well if it's relevant to Meteor.
Okie doke. Okay. All right, and let's move on to the next section, which is there's been a question regarding new forum categories new categories in the forums in the Meteor forums. So now that I've butchered that entirely, why don't you take that?
Yeah, so I am kind of heavily involved in, say, moderating or kind of looking over the forums. Probably won't see me, commenting on everything. But one thing that I am kind of, could say, a neat freak, I like when everything is categorized. And over the past 2 years that I have been doing this, I've kind of, found that some of the topics are a bit harder to categorize. So I've created a thread under the meta category to discuss, what should be some of the new categories that we should add, because a lot of the categories were done, at the beginning of the forums, so over 5-6 years ago, and it kind of needs an update. So that was kind of proposed to add TypeScript, MongoDB, and tips and tricks categories. And potentially I would like to discuss maybe expanding the help categories to kind of add more subcategories. So if anybody is looking for something, it might be a bit easier to find. And interestingly, got response from Fred, CEO of Meteor Software, and looks like that they will be actually doing some more work in this as well. But anyhow, if you have any thoughts on these categories that I propose, or want to propose some new categories, definitely go into this forum thread and add your suggestions.
And if you're here right now watching, you could just drop a note in the live chat as we're going through this, and we're monitoring the live chat right now. So if you need to, you could do that, and we'll see it. And we'll bring it up as we talk about it. The other place that you could also do so is in the comments section if you're watching this after the stream has been recorded. And again, we'll be looking at those things too to get that information. But yeah, we have that submission box and the form. There's a link in the show notes. And if you would like to use that as a means of also communicating with us, you can do that there too. So let's move on if we're done with this. Jan?
Yes, another, you could say, meta topic, and that's, if you are paying attention, there is this little issue that had a very, interesting addition here. And let me put this up. And this is something that I've mentioned, I would say, to a few people a while back. And again, I don't expect anybody really to know unless you are really like a hawk watching everything that's happening. But Meteor Software has canceled most of their sponsorships. And one of the reasons was giving me that they are changing the models, how they are going to be supporting community and development. And one of them, which they are looking to probably do, at least according to some of the info that I have and to what's happening with this issue, is bounties. So, and that would be through the Algora's, let's just say, system. Let's just pick it up, Algora.io, which allows companies to let's see if I can show you.
So this is a third-party commercial product that they're using. It's a SaaS service, I am assuming, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. The thing here is, it's I would guess, according to here, this is like a test to see if it's the correct thing, and you can see immediately there is somebody attempting to solve it. So definitely something to kind of keep an eye out, that there might be bounties coming from Meteor. I would recommend, if that's something that interests you, to probably go and get registered with Algora and have everything set up so that you can then jump in once this becomes more pronounced. But also I would kind of put in a warning that we don't know if this is the final solution that they are going to go with, because this looks just like a quick test to see if that's something, or if it's a good fit. Because, for example, as I was looking at it and playing with it, I have some additional comments as well to it. Personally, I think it's a good for companies, but not necessarily for FOSS projects like Meteor, because one of the things that I've kind of found missing, but I may be mistaken, is that people cannot come on in and pitch in or increase the bounty, which I think would be really awesome. And another thing also then is that it's, since it's more geared towards companies, it's not something that you could really use with Meteor Community packages. So we shall see. We'll be watching it very closely. And of course, there we can probably once Meteor Software find the proper solution, they will let us know with a big announcement, I suspect.
Yeah. Küster, what are your thoughts on bug bounties as a way of incentivizing open source developers to projects?
I think before I go into that, I just wanted to mention that the MeteorJS is listed on Algora on the first 3 projects. So if
Really?
you like, which is actually pretty great.
Wow.
Even if they just have 1 bounty open. So at least in my list. So when you click on projects, there's this highlighted bounties on the side, on the right side. When you're on the right side.
Left side.
Yeah, there. Click there. Then MeteorJS is just in the top 3. So awesome advertisement already. From my end, I think bug bounties are a very good way to increase community activity, but you have to be aware of that as a company or as someone who is giving the bounties or who is opening the bounties, you should outweigh the complex task with also some easy tasks. So because otherwise you will only have very specialized people, and these are very few in fact, to work on very specialized tasks and sometimes you need to mix in some easier tasks in order to get broader attention, get many people to even start working in a bug bounty program, and then maybe you gain a little bit more traction. So this is my opinion on this whole topic, entirely my own.
My first meetup that I ran for Meteor for MongoDB was a bug bounty on version 3.4, and that was a very interesting thing, a very interesting exercise at the time. But some places it works very well. Some places, it takes a bit to get engagement. But I think this is a good idea to try to get more people involved in the open source project itself. So I think this is a good start, and let's see how it goes. Okay. I do want to take a moment right now to, let me get back to my notes here, to just mention that if you're finding any value in what we're doing and you'd like to see us continue this, just remember to like, subscribe, and share, the channel. Participate by using the chat and giving us comments. And it's really great to see that some people have already started using the form, the intake form that we've got. In the show notes, we've got a lot of links to different resources that if you're using Meteor for the first time, or maybe for the 100th time, you might find useful. So, take a look there, and, just help us get to 100 users if you can with subscriptions, because when we get to 100 users, we can take that very strange hash that is our YouTube URL, and we can customize it and put something that is more meaningful. So let me get on now to the next item, which is the last alpha in the 3.0 releases. So we're getting very close to a release candidate, I guess, for 3.0.
Yes, that's correct. This was earlier, 3 days ago. Danielson from the Meteor team, he mentioned that update, once they figure out the update to NPM version 9, which seems to be giving a bit of a problems, then they are going to move to beta versions of the 3.0 releases. So that's something to kind of keep an eye out and watch out, because then it's going to get even more interesting than it already is. But even if you can already work fine as things are with the alpha releases, up till now it was not possible, for example, to deploy on Galaxy, and that has also changed. It was again Danielson on the forums. He pointed out that it's now possible to deploy on Galaxy as well. You just need to add a bit more code into your settings JSON so that Galaxy takes the appropriate image and deploys everything correctly.
And for those of you who are new to Meteor, Galaxy is Meteor Software's hosting environment for Meteor applications. So they run a platform as a service for Meteor, and you can build your applications and then just deploy it directly there. You can deploy Meteor in a number of different locations, including any cloud or on your own machines. But this is a very convenient platform. It's tuned and tailored specifically for Meteor applications, and so making sure that releases of the software platform itself are able to deploy there is, as you can imagine, very important to Meteor Software. Danielson is one of the engineers over at Meteor Software. So just some background for folks. All right, and if you give me 1 second, I get back to my notes here. We are now at CSS modules in Meteor, right? So what's going on with those?
Yeah, so this is specifically from Radoslav from Vasco. He's an engineer at Vasco. He posted on the forums, and he had made an article about enabling CSS modules. And it's not just, the article itself is more than just that about CSS modules. It's about how to kind of manage build plugins, because Meteor, everything is modular. So even like the stuff that builds your CSS, JavaScript, minimizers, you can, plug that out and put in something different. And his article really covers how he has made a compiler plugin for Meteor to actually enable CSS modules and everything else that they need with their new CSS. So if you are interested in that, or I would recommend in general kind of to have a read if you want to learn a bit more about the internals of Meteor, especially if you have some specific issues in this area or just curious, then I would highly recommend it. And if you look a bit around the forums, you actually notice there is more people doing some different works with different compilers, changing Babel for Beat and stuff like that. So we have enthusiasts, as mentioned here, we have Parcel, Webpack, Weed, that are kind of building these different things. But one thing to also kind of remember that there are some very specific things that Meteor does that usually these builders don't do. So be very careful when kind of exchanging, because this is quite a intimate part of building your application. So approach this with caution. But if I would highly recommend, if that's something of interest to you, to look into this article. It's very straightforward and tells you how to kind of get started with building your own minifiers and build plugins and stuff like that.
It sounds like a deep dive, right? So let me ask you a question related to this, which is, there are two different types of package systems that we have in Meteor, right? There is the Meteor specific one that we distribute through Atmosphere. And then, of course, there's NPM, which is node specific. Can you explain why this was probably done as a Meteor package rather than as an NPM package?
So, Jan, do you want to cover it, or I can go it?
I can cover it from a basic perspective, but I think maybe for these. So as you can see here, this is not only a simple step of providing some feature in your browser, but this is very about compilation of your code into executables, like similar to what Webpack does when you do the classic Node and Webpack way, for example. Then it's not only simply bundling your code for the browser, but in Meteor, you have a bundling system that is doing the whole compilation for the server and the browser. And in order to ease up this process, Meteor has built an own packaging system and also compiler compatible system called ISObuild very early on. So this is so deep integrated into Meteor, and this allows you to write integrations for things like this, as mentioned in this post, for linters, compilers, minifiers, and so on. And you use some of them every day when you build your Meteor app. For example, standard minifier.js would be an example package for that, which is a standard package. And in, I think, every standard Meteor created bundle, created code project, and similar to this is this plugin or this package. And the advantage over writing an npm package is that the integration for Meteor specific procedures and features is already given with Meteor packages, compared to npm packages, which you should use or you should write when you have more universal or more generalized code that is independent from Meteor, that is maybe also used for plain Node projects or other environments, or even for the browser.
Very good. Is there anything you want to add to that, Storyteller? Or I think that was pretty good explanation.
Yeah. Also, kind of, why not, npm package, as yes. mentioned, the main thing is this is a very Meteor specific, and that's why I thought like, okay, when should I use, Meteor package? When should I use npm? If you are using anything, from Meteor core itself, like, for example, getting into the build plugins, then you are using Meteor packages. If it's something that you can abstract to be, say Meteor agnostic, then you will build a npm package for that.
Excellent. All right. So I just want to hang on one second. I am getting some stuff up here. So I think we're at the end of this now. So is there anything else we want to add before we just wrap up?
Maybe a shameless promotion for the two of us.
Sure.
We have, if you who are watching, if you like what we are doing, if you want to support us in spending more time in open source and with Meteor stuff, then I would highly encourage you to sponsor us on GitHub. We have, both of us, we have sponsorships available. So, feel free to go to our GitHubs, and there will be the sponsorship button that you can click, and can then choose if you want to support us in our endeavors.
All right, that's terrific. Okay, guys. So I just want to share with you some links that you'll see in the show notes. So when you go down there, you'll find that we have a link at the top here to. This is the link to the form that we talk about, the suggestion box. If you want to learn more about Meteor, you could check out the Meteor website. You can install the software, go through documentation, read the guide. There is a Learn Meteor University area that you can get started using Meteor. And of course, the project source code is on GitHub. And if you want to see what companies are and what projects are using Meteor, you can go to the showcase over here. And of course, there are the community resources that are available. So there is the discussion forums. You can participate on Slack. We also have a Discord community. And this is we have two, this is my shameless plug for the New York City YouTube channel. We have a channel over there. And there is a link also for the New York City meetup. We do some online meetups. We're hoping to get back to in-person at some point. So, let me just wrap that up now. Hang on. Let me just say that, we've got the submission box I mentioned before. We'd love it if you would like and subscribe and share this program. that would help us get more visibility. With more visibility, we get more people coming into the community, trying Meteor, using Meteor. That would be, I think, a fantastic thing if you're able to do that. And again, we want feedback, we want participation. So I did not see anything in the live chat while we were talking, but my hope is that as we go forward with this, we will get to see some more participation in the future. Even though it hasn't happened in real time now, you could still participate by using the comments, using the suggestion box. And finally, we also have the links up on the website, or I'm sorry, not the website, on the YouTube site for the upcoming podcasts. So if you want to, you could just go to them and click on the notify button, and you'll get a notification when we're going live, and you'll be ready to go. So we'll see you next week.
I just want to add what's coming up next week.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Next
Why don't we
week
do
there
it?
will be discussion on the or a summary from my end about the Meteor roadmap discussion, which
Okay.
is already such a long-grown list. And if you're new to that, I think that might take half a day to go through everything. And so maybe it's good to make a recap, make an overview, just see like what's actually the community want, what's the way the community wants Meteor to move forward. And and the other thing is also some small recap on some further update, 2.13 update issue, which is when you're in the late alpha stage and you want to keep up with the things, what other issues could arise, as like we covered last week. So yeah, stay tuned for next week, and then I will cover these topics.
Yeah, and I think there was also going to be a discussion on Node 14 and what the impact was in terms of it hitting end of life and Meteor taking over, doing extensions to it, et cetera, and what that means to businesses and why they should consider doing migrations sooner than later, right? So yeah, I think these are all very good topics. We are doing a little bit of preview. This is new to us, and we're going to be doing new things every week, and hopefully we'll get better and better at delivering this news to you. So again, have a great weekend, and thanks for joining us.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Okay.